live. So the last day of our days of improvising in order to keep, up to date, filling the gap, the vacuum of, leaving the base to the United States of America. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please take your time. It's actually noon, right? Anyway, tonight, take your time, read the caption of the broadcast. And if you have done that, remember to read the description of the broadcast as well, okay? Then like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them that Mayegun today. And if you have done that already, thank you. So kindly let me know if you can hear me loud and clear just before we delve fully into this. So thank you. So brethren, tonight we have a kind of like a series of stories to catch up on. Among them is the sexual assault, harassment, allegation against Akpabiole from Natasha Akpoti. Shit has now sort of hit the fan beyond what they said she did, which was that she rejected being moved to another seat. And they said that Akpabiole has the power to decide where everyone sits within the chamber. However, she said, no, it is more than that. That is just what you get to see in the open. But I have been vilified. I have been bullied. I have been threatened, like phone call threats against her. All because Akpabiole wanted to sleep with her. Akpabiole told her that if she takes care of him, he will take care of her. Even though, according to her, Akpabiole and her husband, they actually knows each other. So the shit is no longer about insubordination as they have charged, as they have charged her. It is now more about sexual harassment. And then, another lady or another woman who is a senator as well, Ireti Kinjibe, has also joined the fray by saying Natasha, the way Natasha went about what transpired in the open was wrong. But she hasn't reacted to this sexual harassment allegation. And that's a serious stuff, right? So Natasha said that the House leader, Akpabio Bamodele, made a phone call to her in the middle of the night to threaten her that did she know that if Akpabiole should go down or resign, that she will go down too, where she said she flared up. Anyway, that is just a part of our discussion tonight. I think we should start from that. The other one is between the Werewike and the Nefubara. As at this hour, it seems that Werewike has found the final leech to politically strangulate Sim. Shit has hit the fan in that part too. As the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled that one, Fubara has committed an illegality by spending the 2024 budget without giving the same appropriation to the Werewike's faction. And remember, Werewike's faction defected from PDP to APC. There's a court affidavit to that effect, which they later withdrawn. And according to the court, they said, well, it doesn't exist, which means they never decamped. So because they have decamped and their seats declared vacant, that is why Fubara continue to operate or transact business with the other guys, other four guys or so. So right now, according to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which is the final court, Abi, because Supreme Court cannot appeal itself, except if it is Akpabiole, so it can't repeat itself. So what that simply means now is that Fubara, they have failed to operate or transact business with the weakest 27 lawmakers led by Martin Amaewhule. Fubara has committed illegality. And by the Supreme Court ruling, it simply means the 27 lawmakers, loyal to Wike, they have never decamped and they have never lost their seats. They are valid. And therefore, that gives them the legitimacy to possibly begin the impeachment process of Fubara. But we're going to get to that part, okay? We're going to get to that. So, which one should we go for first? I think we should go for Akpabiole and Natasha. All right. Then we're going to get to that with the weakest part. Then we're going to go to other parts as well. As you all prepare, I don't know if it's all of you though, prepare for Ramadan tomorrow. Sultan of Sokoto has declared the sighting of moon. So remember the League of Yoruba League of Imams and Afars. They said they were starting. Think about it. Those ones said fasting Ramadan start from the 1st of March. And they are not waiting for the Sultan of Sokoto to tell them when to start fasting. And tomorrow is 1st of March. And the Sultan of Sokoto has announced that everybody should start fasting tomorrow. So we're going to get to that part, okay? So let's start from where the Wahala kicked off. Natasha. And for the first time, by the way, Akpabiole's wife has come out to defend her husband. For the record, Akpabiole's wife says Natasha is just creating content. That Natasha, that they actually knows Natasha's husband before he married Natasha. But Natasha has been a bigger problem. Her husband is a very responsible man. Akpabiole, a responsible man. Okay. Anyway, so Natasha was invited to a Arise News platform to discuss what's really going on. She was expected to discuss what went on behind the scene, just for context sake. What went on behind the scene, right? But she went deeper, okay? She did. First, she said, Akpabiole, one-on-one, told her that if she play ball, I be say if she's ready to get a lead, charged, right? The sky will be her limit, because Akpabiole is the superintendent officer of the National Assembly. So in a nutshell, Akpabiole wanted to enter Natasha. But the insulting part of it is when she said, Akpabiole said this in the presence of her husband. Her husband was there when they traveled to Uyo. Let us start from that. Natasha, ladies and gentlemen.
In February, I wanted. That's what I'm about to explain that.
Yes.
Yes. So many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth, and the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just three of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it. At that point, I just pulled away, and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me, and the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate president, too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate president now said, oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel. He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, you know, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate president's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 Points in Ikotekpene. And my husband asked me, Natasha, what did the Senate president whisper to you? What's he telling you? I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate president. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right, and my husband wrapped his arms around me, and he said, my love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate president tell you? Again, I was like, don't you believe me? I said, nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy. Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate president's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, you know, after office to like get approvals and all that. So I told him, okay, no problems. That was it. I thought that was going to be the end. But then, in February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of the corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper. But that's what I'm about to
Now they follow the story. You know. So Akpabiole made a lot of sort of advancements or advances to her in which she rejected, but it was in the presence of her husband. That's some huge sort of, allegation if it happened to be not true. I don't see why she's going to make that up. I don't. But it seems right now, she knows that Akpabiole has so much influence, which she has kind of witnessed to bully her or put her out of sight. You know, primarily, Akpabiole said Natasha wanted to be where the camera is so that the camera can pick her all the time. So which means to Akpabiole, right? It doesn't want to keep seeing her. And the only way to not see her is to hide her away. Something that she said is coming from a place of Akpabiole making advances at me, that he wanted to shag me, but I rejected his advances and all that. So she's giving us that background. And that's kind of, there must be a rule in the National Assembly that can investigate somebody like that. And if it's found, okay, I think I'm getting carried away, Sha. Because normal, sure you get, if you sexually harass your colleague at work, you are just first. You are not bigger than her. You're just first among equal. But Akpabiole, this is not the first time. This is not the second time that Akpabiole has been accused of sexual harassment by those who worked with him. Just for the record, though. But Natasha said more. So she said, among other things that Akpabiole tried, or how many other ways Akpabiole tried to shut her down, was the time she was pushing a bill to make the Senate, right, investigate the Ajaokuta steel mill. That she submitted it 5 times for it to be listed among the the order of the day in the Senate, because whatever you have to say at the Senate chamber on the floor, you must have submitted it through the clerk, and they must have listed it. So when they call your name, then you can stand up and present whatever you want to present, Abi. But she said Akpabiole continued to block it, because when it gets to the point where to know what are the orders of the day, our submission will not be part of it, in which she continued to live with the words of Akpabiole that if she play nice, if she you get, that it will make her like whatever she wanted in the Senate, and all of that stuff. So here is the part where Natasha explained further, right? It's not even funny. I shouldn't even be laughing. But I'm pretty much more like, okay, let's watch it.
In February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajaokuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it. Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajaokuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed the 3rd time I stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court. I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion scale through? I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Pemi. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to laugh. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him, let my wife take this motion on Ajaokuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator Natasha.
He said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me. Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me. Protecting me from what? Anyway, at the time the motion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barau, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barau that actually sexualized me by addressing my attire as being transparent, and that the only thing I know how to do is to wear pancake to the chambers. So when I filed that suit, Senator Ireti Kingibe, hold on, Senator Ireti Kingibe, Senator Akpabio, and Senator
we're low on time,
3 women who sent messages to me that they do not support the litigation. And none of them have called, apart from Senator Ireti, that called my husband to tell me to withdraw that suit and all that. And my husband charged her that you were the same person who had come to the house to tell him that the ST was hitting on his wife sexually. So why are you now against my wife standing up for her rights? So let me tell you something, Mr. Which nobody knows. No, Mr. Rufai, please allow me to say this, please.
Please go ahead.
Can I say this? Please
Yes,
go
please
ahead.
go ahead. Please
Please
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Senator. Please go ahead.
Now, at the nightclub incident, I believe that was not a slip of tongue. That was not a slip of tongue. He has a number of times told me that there are various ways we can have fun. If we travel, he has a way of making the whole the house, the space. He can basically create a party in the space. Do you understand? Like a nightclub in the space and would have fun and all of that. So that nightclub incident statement was not a mistake. It was more like out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
Okay,
But let me say this. The day before please, Rufai, let